Come get it, Joe. We got $700 billion, and next year, already approved, we have $716 billion to give you the finest planes and ships and tanks and missiles anywhere on Earth. Nobody makes them like we do. And very, very far distant in this case. Jobs are very important in all cases, but in this case, military might is more important than even jobs. But all of this equipment is made right here in the USA, and it's the best equipment on Earth. Nobody makes it like we do. So you have $700 billion and now $716 billion. So congratulations. With this new authorization, we will increase the size and strength of our military by adding thousands of new recruits to active duty, reserve, and National Guard units, including 4,000 new active duty soldiers. And we will replace aging tanks, aging planes and ships with the most advanced and lethal technology ever developed, and hopefully we'll be so strong we'll never have to use it. But if we ever did, nobody has a chance.
We have good news for you. I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This is a truly historic day for the American Armed Forces. In just a few minutes, I will proudly sign into law the largest ever investment in the United States military. In fact, I can say the largest ever by far. Today also marks another landmark achievement as we officially inaugurate the newest branch of our military. This is a very big and important moment. It's called the Space Force. Most importantly, we are supporting you, the heroes who defend our families, secure our nation, and protect our freedom.
So these giant transnational investment companies, the ones who represent 36 million millionaires, 2,000 to 3,000 billionaires, are manage their money for them and invest it in places where they want to get a return. So there are 17 of these trillion-dollar investment giants. They collectively control, in 2017, $41 trillion worth of wealth. So it's just a massive concentration of wealth. And there's only 199 people that are on the boards of directors of those companies. So we have less than 200 people who are deciding the investment policies for 50 trillion this year, $50 trillion worth of wealth in the world. And a lot of those decisions aren't favorable to most people, and it's favorable to them. So they're trying to get a return. That's one of the problems with capital and capitalism, is that it needs to continue to grow. So the problem with this kind of capital concentration is they run out of places to invest it with good returns. But even then, they still have more capital and they've got good places to do it. So part of global, the neoliberal economic policies is to buy up the world, literally privatize the world, so that freeways, highways are bought up, the water resources in the world, the universities and cities, I mean, everything, it becomes privatized. And so the public domain is bought up. That's another way of trying to get a return on investment. And even that, there's still more money than there's good place to invest. So we've reached a level now of permanent war.
The 2020 National Defense Authorization Act is about making sure our warfighters have the tools, resources, and equipment you need to fight and to win, all the time to win. We're making our military stronger and more powerful than ever before. The law I'm signing today provides $738 billion, that's with a B, $738 billion in defense funding for the 2020 That's an all-time record in the history of our country. That's the highest amount we've ever spent on our military. And that's after $700 billion in my first year and $716 billion last year. And it's all made right here in the USA. Very important. This brings our total investment in national defense since my inauguration to almost $2.5 trillion. And what's the good of a budget if you don't have the best military in the world? And now we focus on the budget a little bit. Is that okay? We'll focus on the budget. $2.5 trillion, so that's really something. And it's new and it's beautiful, and within the next 12 months you'll have most of it. In addition to massive acquisitions in the past 2 years, this bill authorizes nearly 100 new F-35s, 24 brand new FA-18s, 155 Army helicopters of all different types, 165 brand new beautiful Abrams tanks said to be the best in the world, more than 50 Paladin howitzers, 2 new Virginia-class submarines, 3 new Arleigh Burke destroyers, a Ford-class aircraft carrier, and 2 others on their way, and much, much more. With my signature today, you will witness the birth of the Space Force, and that will be now officially the 6th branch of the United States Armed Forces. That is something really it's a big moment. That's a big moment, and we're all here for it. Space. There'll be a lot of things happening in space, because space is the world's newest warfighting domain. Amid grave threats to our national security, American superiority in space is absolutely vital. And we're leading, but we're not leading by enough, but very shortly we'll be leading by a lot. The Space Force will help us deter aggression and control the ultimate high ground.
Caros amigos, bem-vindos a mais um episódio de Hoje no Mundo Militar, um canal exclusivamente dedicado à discussão de temas militares atuais. Neste vídeo falarei sobre a 4ª Frota da Marinha dos Estados Unidos, cuja área de atuação engloba a costa brasileira. É verdade que essa força naval pode ameaçar a nossa soberania? Antes de responder a pergunta, vamos esclarecer alguns conceitos importantes. Primeiro, e mais importante de tudo, o que são as frotas navais da Marinha dos Estados Unidos? Uma frota naval nada mais é do que uma componente organizacional e administrativa dentro da Marinha dos Estados Unidos. Uma frota não realiza ações militares de forma independente, mas apenas treina e mantém em estado operacional as unidades que num dado momento estejam sob a sua responsabilidade. O conceito de frota naval foi criado nos Estados Unidos em 1906 pelo presidente Theodore Roosevelt, que criou a Frota do Pacífico e a Frota do Atlântico. Essa última com a missão de proteger as novas bases caribenhas conquistadas dos espanhóis após a Guerra Hispano-Americana de 1898. Durante a Segunda Guerra Mundial, o conceito de frota ampliou-se com a criação das chamadas Task Forces, cujo objetivo era dar uma maior agilidade e liberdade de ação às subunidades dentro da estrutura organizacional da Marinha. Em março de 1941, 9 meses antes da entrada definitiva dos Estados Unidos na Segunda Guerra Mundial, foram criadas 10 Task Forces, numeradas de 1 a 10. Esse conceito de numeração serviu de base para a criação das chamadas Frotas Numeradas, cujo número e área de atuação tem variado muito nas últimas décadas. Quando a área de atuação da frota encontra-se no Pacífico ou no Oeste, a sua numeração é ímpar, e quando opera no Atlântico ou no Leste, a sua numeração é par. Nesse momento, existem 6 frotas ativas, com todas subordinadas a um comando central com sede em Norfolk, Virgínia, onde estava sediada a antiga 2ª Frota, entretanto desativada em 2011. Das frotas atualmente em operação, a 3ª, com sede em San Diego, Califórnia, tem área de atuação no Pacífico Leste. A 5ª, com sede em Manama, no Bahrein, tem área de atuação no Oriente Médio. A 6ª, com sede em Nápoles, na Itália, tem área de atuação na Europa e na África. A 7ª, com sede em Yokosuka, no Japão, tem área de atuação no Pacífico Oeste. A 10ª, com sede em Fort Meade, Maryland, é dedicada ao combate cibernético. E finalmente a 4ª Frota, reativada recentemente em 2008, tem área de atuação no Atlântico Sul, o que engloba naturalmente o Brasil. A 4ª Frota, que esteve ativa entre 1943 e 1950, quando foi reativada em abril de 2008, gerou um grande desconforto em muitos países latino-americanos, com muitos preocupados com o fato de não terem sido consultados antes da reativação. A Venezuela, que naquela época ainda era governada por Hugo Chávez, chegou mesmo a ameaçar diretamente os Estados Unidos, afirmando que não hesitaria em afundar navios norte-americanos que entrassem em águas territoriais venezuelanas. O Brasil e a Argentina também enviaram notas aos Estados Unidos solicitando mais detalhes sobre a missão da 4ª Frota na região. No caso do Brasil, a reativação da 4ª Frota assumiu proporções muito grandes em alguns veículos de informação, justamente por coincidir com a divulgação da descoberta de grandes reservas de petróleo no chamado pré-sal, na costa brasileira. Com reservas gigantescas de petróleo sendo descobertas naquela região, alguns jornais desconfiaram das reais intenções dos Estados Unidos, com alguns discutindo abertamente a possibilidade da 4ª Frota ser, afinal, uma desculpa para os Estados Unidos reivindicarem grandes porções marítimas na região do pré-sal. A versão oficial dos Estados Unidos é que tratou-se apenas de um processo de reorganização das unidades da Marinha, e que acabaria por envolver a desativação da 2ª Frota e a reativação da 10ª, como unidade dedicada à defesa e ao combate cibernético. Passaram-se quase 10 anos desde a reativação da 4ª Frota, e os temores de intervenção norte-americana levantados por alguns setores da sociedade brasileira na época se confirmaram? Como sabemos, não se confirmaram. A reativação da 4ª Frota não significou um aumento expressivo da atividade naval norte-americana na costa brasileira. Aliás, muito pelo contrário, com a Marinha dos Estados Unidos praticamente toda concentrada nos últimos 10 anos na Europa, no Oriente Médio e principalmente na Ásia. Com mais de 320 mil militares na ativa, 100 mil na reserva, quase 300 navios de guerra próprios e mais de 100 em regime de parceria com privados em funções de apoio logístico, incluindo 10 grandes porta-aviões nucleares da classe Nimitz, os maiores navios de guerra em operação no mundo, com outros 2 porta-aviões nucleares na reserva e outros 3 novos da classe Gerald Ford em construção, mais de 3.700 aviões e 66 submarinos, todos eles nucleares. A Marinha de Guerra dos Estados Unidos é, de longe, a maior e mais poderosa do mundo. Só em termos de comparação, o número de submarinos nucleares operados pelos Estados Unidos é maior do que a soma de todos os submarinos nucleares operados pela Rússia e pela China. E o número de aviões operados pela Marinha dos Estados Unidos é quase tão grande como o número de aviões operados por toda a Força Aérea da Rússia. Isso serve para mostrar que, se fosse o caso, e se fosse realmente essa a sua intenção, a Marinha dos Estados Unidos, através da sua 4ª Frota, teria plenas condições de reivindicar amplas áreas do pré-sal brasileiro, com o Brasil não sendo capaz de se opor militarmente a essa ação. No entanto, como vimos, e apesar dos temores de alguns setores da nossa sociedade, tal ação não aconteceu. Com ou sem a 4ª Frota, que, como referi, não passa de uma unidade organizacional e administrativa da Marinha, a projeção de poder aeronaval dos Estados Unidos poderia chegar facilmente à nossa costa. Pode acontecer no futuro? Pode, claro, mas não é algo previsível ou expectável, com os norte-americanos muito mais preocupados com outras regiões do globo. É por isso o momento ideal para o reforço da nossa própria marinha, que sofre com a falta de recursos para uma defesa eficiente da nossa costa e dos nossos recursos marítimos. Com apenas 8 fragatas, 3 corvetas, um navio anfíbio multipropósito, alguns de desembarque anfíbio, 5 submarinos e um punhado de navios de patrulha fluvial e oceânica, a nossa marinha precisa com urgência de mais recursos. Felizmente, nesse momento, o nosso país não está sob a ameaça externa de ninguém, mas é justamente nesses momentos de paz em que uma nação deve se preparar para a guerra. E é o nosso dever, enquanto cidadãos, de exigirmos do nosso governo que os recursos necessários para a defesa do nosso país sejam adequadamente repassados e, principalmente, adequadamente gastos. Mesmo que não seja para a segurança da geração atual, que ao menos seja para a segurança das futuras.
O vice-secretário de Estado americano, John J. Sullivan, foi recebido no Brasil pelo secretário-geral das Relações Exteriores, embaixador Marcos Galvão. Eles tiveram uma reunião bilateral e participaram ainda no Palácio do Itamaraty, do lançamento do Fórum de Segurança Brasil-Estados Unidos. O fórum é uma iniciativa bilateral de cooperação para discutir crimes transnacionais e as redes de ameaças contra os dois países. Segundo o embaixador Marcos Galvão, o fórum vai fortalecer a capacidade de resposta aos desafios da segurança pública no Brasil, além de aperfeiçoar ações de cooperação já iniciadas durante os Jogos Olímpicos de 2016.
Nossa preocupação, quando propusemos a estrutura do foro, foi de consolidar a boa relação alcançada nos últimos anos e não deixarmos que ela perca o impulso que adquiriu com esses esforços. Nossa avaliação é de que a cooperação existente é intensa e crescente, mas ainda necessita de maior integração. Caberia também aprofundá-la em certas áreas, como no combate aos crimes cibernéticos. Nesse contexto, creio essencial o papel de nossas chancelarias, de nossos respectivos ministérios, na medida em que temos a capacidade de catalisar os interesses de nossas respectivas agências nacionais e de contribuir na vertente política desse empreendimento.
Olá, boa tarde. Mais uma viagem do presidente ao exterior. Jair Bolsonaro chegou neste domingo a Israel para uma visita oficial de 4 dias ao país. Na chegada ao aeroporto internacional Ben Gurion, em Tel Aviv, foi recepcionado pelo premier israelense Benjamin Netanyahu. Esta deferência só foi feita pelo primeiro-ministro israelense em alguns momentos anteriores. Por exemplo, nas visitas de Obama e Donald Trump e quando Narendra Modi, primeiro-ministro da Índia, esteve em Israel.
Brasileiros e israelenses compartilham valores, tradições culturais e o apreço à liberdade e à democracia. Juntos, nossas nações podem alcançar grandes feitos. Temos que explorar esse potencial. É isso que pretendemos fazer nessa visita. A cooperação nas áreas de segurança e defesa também interessa muito ao Brasil. Eu e meu amigo Netanyahu pretendemos aproximar nossos povos, nossos militares, nossos estudantes, nossos cientistas, nossos empresários e nossos turistas.
Um relacionamento antigo que nasceu quando Israel ainda não havia sido criada. Em 1947, o então chanceler brasileiro Oswaldo Aranha presidiu a Assembleia Geral das Nações Unidas, uma sessão que tomou uma decisão histórica, a partilha da Palestina, o que levou à criação do Estado de Israel. O Brasil foi um dos primeiros países a reconhecer essa condição de Estado independente em 1949. Essa proximidade histórica tem se mostrado Estado ainda mais fortalecida. Bolsonaro ainda não havia tomado posse quando recebeu a visita do primeiro-ministro israelense Benjamin Netanyahu, no Rio de Janeiro. Um encontro que fortaleceu as relações bilaterais.
Mais do que parcerias, sermos irmãos no futuro, na economia, em tecnologia, em tudo aquilo que possa trazer benefício para os dois países.
O premier permaneceu no país e esteve na posse. Benjamin Netanyahu foi saudado
Quando
nas
esteve no
ruas.
Brasil, o primeiro-ministro israelense Benjamin Netanyahu convidou o presidente Jair Bolsonaro para que retribuísse a visita e viesse a Israel. O presidente aceitou o convite. Aqui, o presidente brasileiro deve assinar vários acordos de cooperação em diversas áreas.
There is huge potential on the business side. If you look at the countries on their characteristics, we are complementary countries. So Israel is very good with creating innovation with startups. Brazil is excellent with scaling up companies, managing large scale, penetrating large markets, very open to innovation. So on any aspect that you look at, you will see that collaborating makes a lot of sense.
Pouco a pouco, as duas nações constroem relações ainda mais próximas e a fé é um ponto em comum. Todos os anos, cerca de 50 mil brasileiros visitam a Terra Santa. A grande maioria busca orar no país que reúne cenários que marcaram a história e as religiões. Do alto do Monte das Oliveiras, eles veem a antiga cidade, com suas mesquitas, templos e sinagogas. Conhecem a Igreja de Todas as Nações, no Getsemane, local que para os cristãos, Jesus orou antes de ser preso. No Muro das Lamentações, oram no local onde os judeus acreditam ser o último vestígio do Templo de Salomão.
Discussão e assinatura de alguns acordos nas áreas da ciência e tecnologia, defesa, segurança pública, serviços aéreos, inteligência, saúde e medicina. E, por fim, as visitas à unidade de contra-terrorismo da polícia israelense e à brigada de busca e salvamento do comando da Frente Interna de Israel. Os militares dessa dessa brigada de salvamento são aqueles que participaram das buscas a eventuais sobreviventes na tragédia de Brumadinho. E eles serão agraciados com a Ordem Nacional do Cruzeiro do Sul, que é a mais alta condecoração brasileira atribuída a cidadãos estrangeiros.
Na área científica, tecnológica, educacional, vale a pena a gente ter ênfase. Israel se apresenta nos últimos tempos como uma startup nation, né? Uma nação empreendedora e, de fato, vem sendo bastante criativa, inovadora, com, enfim, aplicativos. E uma coisa que eu acho que vale a pena a gente ter atenção é no uso da tecnologia para a agricultura, por exemplo. Eu acho que isso pode ser uma coisa de interesse a ambos os países. O marco das relações do Brasil com Israel é, obviamente, o Brasil tem um papel importante no nascimento do Estado de Israel. Foi um brasileiro, Oswaldo Aranha, que presidiu a sessão especial da ONU, que optou, né, pela partilha da Palestina em 1947. Relações com Israel sempre muito fortes na área de educação, na área cultural, interface importante na área tecnológica, algumas relações comerciais importantes. Então, o que eu posso ressaltar é que o histórico sempre foi tem um papel importante no nascimento do Estado de Israel, mas bastante equilibrado em relação ao conflito Israel-Palestina.
Today, we reveal how Americans' defense contractors pay off terrorists to protect corporate interests and why the Trump administration's sham of a peace plan for Israel and Palestine is dead on arrival.
Hi, I'm Brigida Santos. For our top story today, the Trump administration has unveiled its long-awaited so-called peace plan for Israel and Palestine. The proposed Peace to Prosperity plan, crafted by Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, has been rubber-stamped by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. However, the plan did not receive any input from the Palestinian Authority and therefore is considered dead on arrival. Still, Jimmy, we need to talk about this one-sided plan because it's basically allowing Israel to annex portions of the West Bank, the Jordan Valley, which is completely illegal under international law. And it's also allowing them to keep the settlements that they have, which are also illegal under international law.
Yeah, so what it's basically doing is it's proposing a war crime and calling it a peace plan.
Yes.
And, you know, a peace plan, exactly what you pointed out, usually involves a negotiation with the people you're trying to find peace with. And so that's not what this is. And it's so disingenuous. You know, you'll hear Trump or Netanyahu talk about it, and they'll say things like, well, no, you know, the Palestinians don't have to leave. Oh, but they don't get to have the right to arm themselves or defend themselves or start a real economy or import, export things, or the right of travel in and out of place. So they're actually still putting them in a prison is what's actually happening. So this isn't a peace plan. This is more like a prison plan.
And it's ridiculous that this like trust fund diplomat Jared Kushner is coming up with this peace plan. And this is what we have. It's a one-sided deal where Israel and Trump say, this is the plan, you take it or leave it. And they're pretending like it's a real plan, but it's not really going to go anywhere from here.
Well, you know, after 40 years of crony capitalism and supply-side economics and neoliberalism, it just seems perfect that a trust fund baby would be out there negotiating more U.S. imperialism in the Middle East, because that's all this really is.
Sure. And let's talk about when this plan dropped. It dropped the same day that Benjamin Netanyahu was formally charged by the Israeli Attorney General on corruption charges. And Trump and Netanyahu, they're two peas in a pod. They're both going through these investigations right now. They're both mired in political scandals. So this is kind of a distraction for both of them, really. They're both helping each other, giving each other concessions to help each other win. And we'll see how much their bases fall for this.
Well, that's absolutely clear. I think their bases will fall for it because they agree with the policy, right? And I think it's certainly Netanyahu and Trump deserve derision. And but the point is they're just, you know, carrying out the logical conclusion of American policy for the last 40, 50 years. You know, Barack Obama was shown a map of how much the settlements have increased 200% since 1992. And when Barack Obama was leaving office, he was shown a map of how much settlements had increased during his presidency, and he was said to be shocked. So if, you know, this of course is Trump, this is of course Netanyahu, but it's also Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, Bush 1, Reagan, all the way back to Johnson. So this is, and when are American people going to say, stop using our tax dollars to do this apartheid state? And when are we, you know, they take our money, we give our money to Israel. They take our money and they use it for weapons to do this. And because they already used their money to give their people health care. I think if Americans knew that, they would maybe stand up and say, we shouldn't be giving them this money.
In other news, the families of over 100 U.S. service members who were killed or wounded in Afghanistan between 2009 and 2017 are suing major defense contractors for allegedly making illegal protection payments to the Taliban to prevent the terror group from attacking their business interests in the region. The payments reportedly aided and abetted terrorism by directly funding an al-Qaeda-backed Taliban insurgency that killed and injured thousands of Americans. The plaintiffs are seeking damages under the Federal Anti-Terrorism Act. All defendants in the lawsuit are large Western companies with lucrative businesses in post-9/11 Afghanistan. Jimmy, I want to read you some of these allegations because they're pretty damning. So first, one company, the MTN Group, reportedly admitted to deactivating its cellular towers at night at the direction of the Taliban. This interfered with U.S. forces' ability to track high-value terrorists at night. Another company reportedly paid insurgent militias in exchange for access to roads. And the lawsuit also accuses contractors and subcontractors of regularly making cash payments to Taliban agents, and in some cases, putting those Taliban agents directly on the payroll of these companies. So these are the allegations. It's completely insane.
Brigida, I am shocked that capitalism has reared its ugly head and tarnished our pristine wars for liberty.
Yep.
That's crazy. I mean, here we are over there trying to bring freedom, and there's some corporation trying to hijack our good intentions and make a buck off it, and they don't care who they hurt. That does not sound like American corporations to me. We really need to get to the bottom of this. I think someone took them over.
Yeah, and nothing demonstrates the corporate capture of our government quite like this, does it? You have companies literally paying terrorists in the name of saving capital at the expense of American lives and the lives of other people.
Well, this certainly does show the corporate capture. I don't know, nothing. There's that shows it, and plus the fact that we're killing the planet and the ecosystem that supports life and everything on it, right? We're poisoning the water, we're poisoning the air, we're melting the polar caps, and we're boiling the oceans for capitalist profits. So, yeah, this actually just seems to be another logical explanation of what's been happening. Yes, we live in a fascist state run by corporations.
Well, when we say we don't negotiate with the terrorists, maybe our government isn't directly doing it, but it's using these contractors to do that negotiating for them. It's kind of a loophole. Right now, we have Freedom of Information Act requests that allow us to obtain documents that might show the wrongdoing of our government agencies, not the private contractors that they hire out. So that's also a loophole.
Well, I think the big loophole is here. We say we shouldn't be directly funding terrorists. Well, I don't know how to break this to you, but we're the terrorists. So war is terrorism.
Well, we aren't.
No. I mean the United States government. That's what I mean. The United States government and its military is the terrorists. War is terrorism, and we're now bombing in 7, 8 countries, at least that we know of, right? There's always, whenever another Marine gets killed, we find out we're in another country bombing it. So when we're it's funny how we make this distinction between somehow terrorism and then what we're doing. What the hell do you call what we did in Iraq? What the hell do you call we turned Libya into a failed state which opened slave markets? That was one of the most successful states on the continent, and we tried to do the same thing to Syria. We came damn near it. We are the terrorists. So this idea that it's shocking that we would be funding other terrorists, it's one big global gangbang. It's a death culture. It's a death economy, and people are hopefully are finally waking up to it because of the work of Tulsi Gabbard.
Well, and look at it this way: we are constantly saying that the money is going missing in Afghanistan or Iraq or Syria or wherever. It's not really going missing, is it? When you look at this on paper, this might be where it's going. A lot of it.
You know, they had pallets of cash. I remember the stories in Iraq, pallets of cash being airlifted. You know, it's a big scam. The fact that we print our own money anyway, and this idea that we can just do all this militarism, we can do all this fighting terror, they've given Trump an extra $131 billion. This guy who they say is acting at the behest of Vladimir Putin, they give him $131 billion to go bomb anybody he cares to, I guess at the behest of Vladimir Putin, according to them. And so and then they say, oh, these people they want health care and if they want free stuff. They just gave $131 extra billion. That's every year. That's not one time. That's every year in perpetuity, which could send everybody to college for free, which could end homelessness. We could do that. All this stuff is very doable, but we live in this corrupt corporate state, which is a fascist state because it's also a surveillance state, and the government's run by the corporation, which is really ruling us. And now here's Bob with the weather.
On that note, here's how heavily the U.S. relies on private defense contractors. During the first quarter of fiscal year 2020, U.S. Central Command reported over 50,000 supporting contractor personnel in the U.S. CENTCOM area of responsibility, which spans across at least 20 countries, including Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. The number of contractors has gone up, and the trend will likely continue. Now, this did not start with President Trump. He's just taking it to the next level. Back in 2016, under President Obama, more private military contractors died in Iraq and Afghanistan than all U.S. troops deployed to those countries, meaning that mercenaries were the silent majority of Obama's military. That's insane.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think we have Orwellian language inserted, right, to make us blind to what's actually happening. So they call them contractors. Yeah, I'm a contractor in the Middle East. Really? Yeah, we're going to go put in a new kitchen down in Kabul. You're not a contractor, right? You're a hired killer.
Yeah,
so they
mercenaries.
Mercenaries, which are hired killers. So that's what we need to remember. That's who these people are. And Trump is not pulling. He rolled over to the military-industrial complex exactly the way Barack Obama rolled over to the military-industrial complex. And I think it's better to have Trump in there doing this because at least people are a little bit starting to talk about it. When Barack Obama did it, they acted like he wasn't dropping bombs. He was Santa Claus dropping presents or something. So that's and again, silver lining of a Trump administration is at least people are starting to talk about this stuff.
Yeah. Now, prior to that, under George W. Bush's administration, Blackwater employees killed 17 Iraqi civilians in Nisour Square.
Right.
The Blackwater contractors were prosecuted, but the company's founder, Eric Prince, was not, and he is now working behind the scenes as an unofficial figure in the Trump administration. Prince has advocated for replacing American troops in Syria and Afghanistan with contractors. So when Trump says he's going to bring home the troops, that might be true, but he also might be about to make these wars go corporate by privatizing them.
Yeah, he notice he doesn't say end the wars.
No,
I have to bring him home.
We're going to end the wars.
But Trump has this penchant for saying out loud what they're supposed to say in private, right? And so when he was talking about taking the troops out of Syria, he wanted credit. He goes, I only left enough troops in there to protect the oil. We're protecting the oil. Like he just lets the cat right out of the bag. So now anybody they go to recruit to come join this military, they can look, they go, you know what you're joining, right? You're going to protect oil over in the Middle East because that's the game. So at least, again, another silver lining. Trump is such an idiot that he says the silent part out loud.
And it's super problematic that we're allowing more mercenaries to enter these military conflicts because we're just creating this private global marketplace, really, for war.
Yeah, it seems very much like there's got to be a correlation between this and the private prison industry in the United States. This for-profit pain-inflicting kind of a thing. It's just, dehumanizing and all that. It's just, it's really a weird world we're living in right now. And more people, the fact that, this isn't the headlines, it's only talked about on shows like this is really something.
You're watching No More News.
There have been at least a dozen Jewish rabbis that have said the Messiah is on earth now. He's been identified. He is soon going to make himself known.
Drum roll, please. We present the actual voice of Jared Kushner. He has been seen but not heard, silently watching President Trump sign orders. Jared Kushner is usually in the middle of the action, but publicly mum.
Well, thank you very much, Rudy.
Jared Kushner can speak. He actually talks. He says Trump's kept his promises. I want to play some of these historic clips, though, of Jared Kushner. He speaks. He actually spoke from there at the dedication of the embassy that opens today. In fact, I hardly ever do this. I'm going to play Kushner twice. Wow, why hasn't Kushner been speaking? He looks pretty authoritative, looks strong, got a nice gleam in the eye. Sounds nervous, but hey, man, get over it, bro. You come off strong.
In the Jewish mindset, for the Messiah to arrive, you can't think of him like we think of Messiah. We think of Messiah after the model of Jesus. He's the Son of God, divine birth, all of that. That's not the way the Jews look at the Messiah. They're looking for a king. They're looking for a political leader. As a matter of fact, Messiah to them means the anointed one, and it goes back to the ancient days when they would anoint a king and recognize him as this is the man that God sent. I'm not saying that they think he is the Messiah. What I actually think is that most of the rabbis there think he's John the Baptist and the Messiah is about to appear. He's the forerunner. He's the guy that's going to start the message in the wilderness, and the Messiah is going to come in on his heels.
Elect Trump's secret weapon. Forbes magazine trumpeting on their cover the man they credit with Donald Trump's victory, the president-elect's own son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Trump's victory, everybody admits that Trump is a marketing genius, but so is Jared Kushner. He did a lot of stuff that really helped marketing Trump, changing his brand, if you will, from a TV star businessman to a president. By the way, Thiel was a supporter of Trump. Eric Schmidt, the former Google CEO, was not a supporter of Trump, but he recognized Jared Kushner's genius. He said, Jared Kushner is the biggest surprise of the 2016 election. Best I can tell, he actually ran the campaign and did it with essentially no resources.
Yeah, that was really, that was the most shocking thing of the story. That Eric Schmidt, big backer of Hillary, and also helped her build her tech machine. If he's saying this is a big deal, watch this Kushner guy, I knew I had a story.
Well, the way Jared did it was really taking the Trump campaign, dealing with it as if it was a business enterprise. And
Despite having no experience in politics or government, Jared Kushner is said to be one of Donald Trump's most trusted advisors. Some analysts call him the Trump whisperer.
They too believe that we are in the end times. They too believe that the Messiah is about to appear. We would say the second coming is about to happen, but their Messiah is going to be a false Messiah. He's going to be the Antichrist, right? And so we need the temple service. We need to get back into Israel, the Messiah. Now, why are they saying that? They have identified somebody. I mean, there could be a few rabbis there that think he's the Messiah. The smart ones in Israel are looking at him right now. They're saying he is God's, what we would call John the Baptist. He is God's messenger. When he takes over in January, there is a 5777 countdown to the appearance of the Messiah, and something could happen overnight that could lead to the reconstruction of the temple.
A lot of the scholars that I've spoken to talk about how the building of this next temple is really going to bring peace to Israel and to bring safety from all her enemies. And so in that way, I can see that any maybe leader that would be raised up or somebody somebody that would be able to bring the nations together, especially those who might align with Israel, that there might be some agreement that the temple could exist there and this person could be set up in the temple. What we know is that's probably going to be a false Messiah, because as we read in the book of Daniel, that there's a false Messiah that's going to make a peace agreement. And so that's the potential, is that something would be built for the false Messiah to set himself up.
No administration over the course of 4 decades has been able to solve the Arab-Israeli conflict. Barrack says with a new set of leaders in the Arab world wanting a solution, the timing is right.
One of the crucial assignments Donald Trump already has in mind for his son-in-law, bringing peace to the Middle East. He'll make a deal with Israel that no one else can. You know, he's a natural, Trump told the Times of London.
President Trump declared that his son-in-law Jared Kushner could broker the toughest deal in the world, lasting peace between Israelis and Palestinians.
Jared Kushner plans to travel to the Mideast on Wednesday to jumpstart a U.S.-led peace effort. Kushner will spearhead the push for negotiations between the Israelis and Palestinians.
As President Trump's senior advisor, Jared Kushner is tasked with, among other things, trying to bring peace to the Middle East after defeating ISIS.
A White House official says Kushner, who joined Mr. Trump on his recent trip to the Middle East, will hear directly from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas.
President Trump was in Israel just last month, and talks have been continuing since then. Now he's asked his son-in-law to take the lead as the conversation continues.
I am committed to trying to achieve a peace agreement between the Israelis and the Palestinians.
The president believes forging a historic peace agreement is possible and believes his son-in-law is especially fit to achieve it.
He is so great. If you can't produce peace in the Middle East, nobody can.
The president's advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is playing a key role in shaping Trump administration foreign policy.
Jared Kushner has really emerged as a quiet force in the Trump White House. He serves as a main conduit with foreign contacts in Mexico, China, Canada, among others.
36-year-old Jared Kushner has no diplomatic experience, but he's become an envoy to foreign leaders, at times in place of the Secretary of State.
President Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor is in Iraq tonight. Jared Kushner was invited along by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to get a first-hand look at the fight against ISIS.
This trip really shows that he's taking a more active role in the Middle East issues that are on his agenda, and there are many, including trying to broker peace between the Israelis and Palestinians. James.
It's a big portfolio.
Finessing the strained relationships with Mexico and working with the Canadian government are also Kushner projects.
Kushner has been pivotal in shaping the U.S.'s relationship with Mexico.
Jared Kushner led the Mexican foreign minister into the Oval Office, where they talked to President Trump, and they advised him to tone down his rhetoric about Mexico.
And he's now running a newly created office to integrate business ideas into the government.
Critics say Kushner, an Orthodox Jew, is pushing Trump toward a more hardline stance on Israel. When it comes to Israel in the Middle East, the stakes are especially high, and for Kushner, it's also personal.
Matthew Miller, better known by his Hebrew stage name Matisyahu, burst onto the music scene in 2004 as something of a novelty. An observant Orthodox Jew who sang reggae songs about his faith. He says his music is a reflection of his spirituality. And he got involved with the Hasidic Chabad Lubavitch movement. Not only got involved, he says, but jumped into it full force. Matisyahu moved to Crown Heights, Brooklyn, where the Chabad Lubavitch movement is headquartered. And he entered a yeshiva, where he spent his weekdays in intensive study of the Torah. He says he was inspired by the beauty he found in the text. Matisyahu began performing those songs and became a sensation, the reggae singer with the Orthodox black hat and coat. The religious themes in his lyrics were numerous and overt. His top 40 hit, King Without a Crown, incorporates Chabad's belief that the coming of the Messiah, Moshiach, is near. The song's chorus is explicit. I want Moshiach now.
I want Moshiach now. What the city man up with a hole in the ceiling. I give myself to you from the essence of my being, and I sing to my God. Songs of love and healing. I want Moshiach now.
Want to tell the Rebbe the words of the new song that we're singing with Mashiach, right? So I'm just going to read him. Am Yisrael, have no fear. Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. Okay?
Jared is a great young man, went to Harvard, very smart, went to Harvard, very smart.
Das haben die Kinder von früher gemacht, da besser nicht, dass man gehört, aber ich weiß, ob Zivus Hashem ran. Wer wird auch mal gut gewünscht, ja.
Alle Kinder da. Wir sind hier von Sydney, wir haben gemacht, hat der gemacht. Und dann besser nicht, dass wir schon wieder gerannt. Samaton von Röden. Erst der, was hat das gemacht, und der hat dann geholfen. Thank you very much. Das ist für your gift. Das ist schon mal gemacht.
מעניק לך את זה כשי לחג החנוכה, ואני מקווה שבית המקדש ייבנה במהרה בימינו ושזה יישאר רק בגדר של מדגם. אמן.
בקרוב ממש, זה העיקר.
אמן.
מה שישראל לאחרונה זה ניתצו כמה עניינים. מה שרואה עוד, וגם מצאו שעדיין משיח ליבו. אז הייתה משהו במה ידיעתו.
עושים.
הכנראה שהיא מספיק, שהיום כבר שוד, כמה שוד בגלל ועדיין ליבו, אבל יש את כמה שעות, אז יש להשתדל גם היום.
Can I reveal, Jared, how long we've known you? Well, he was never small. He was always big. He was always tall. But
The relationship between Israel and America is stronger than ever, and we really thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for his leadership and his partnership.
Thank you. Thank you.